The lady who sucked her dog on that 8-pointer on me doesn't make me happy at all. And you know what?
That's
We were talking
outrageous.
the other day.
Yeah.
And Amy and we had a good discussion about this. It didn't upset me the night that it happened. It upset me the next day when you and I got there and she was screaming at the top of the trail. And then I was fuming mad because I realized this that letting the dog go wasn't like an accident.
You're like legitimately concerned about
I was
that dog.
like it was
Yeah.
pounding down the snow. I looked and I don't know if we talked about this. And I don't think we talked about it on the last one. It was after that. I was sitting in my tree. I've seen the buck that ran by. I'd seen him before. I'd seen him while Iron Mike was there. Iron Mike must chased him off. He was there 3 nights. He's good right side he's an 8 or 9 pointer. Good right side, and the left side's a little weak. So he's quite obvious, right? If he's looking at you this way, he looks like a giant deer, and if he's looking at this way, he looks like he's not so hot, right? Like he's quite obvious. So I'm sitting in my tree stand, and I noticed over the last few weeks that 20 minutes before shooting hours ended, a couple would walk by, and they would talk really loud.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably
I've heard them from my stand.
They're probably 200 yards away from my stand on not on a big trail, on like on one of those sub-off trails for walking.
Yeah.
But I would hear them talk, and they would show up the same night. No big deal because those deer are totally used to them. They're probably standing 10 yards off the trail.
Do they live in the area? Like, are they?
They live across the street,
Right
so they
across
would
the
have
street.
seen me park my truck.
Yeah.
So the night in question, I turned, I looked at my bait pile. I was looking at my bait pile. I turned right and looked right behind my stand, saw nothing. I looked back at the bait pile, and I heard like that quite obvious sound of a deer running. And then all of a sudden, I turned, and I seen him coming, and then right behind him, and then that's when the barking started. A lab running like right on the heels of this deer. And it was snowing really hard out. I yelled at the dog, right? I blew my spot, and I yelled at the dog to stop, right? Because I was in the tree, but I thought if he heard a human's voice, like it would just scare him enough for a second. So didn't work. He took off after, and this deer totally knew where he was going because he ran right to the bait site, hung a left, and through the path. Like he knew he had an exit.
You know that
Worst,
place.
man. Oh my
So
God.
I jumped out of my stand, worried that it was snowing hard. The tracks are going to get covered up, and this dog's going to run this. The deer's going to run the dog miles, right? He's going to take him to the other side of this forest.
He's
That
gonna
deer's
burn
not
that
coming
dog.
back,
Right?
Yeah.
So I jumped out and I yelled at the people, "Hey, your dog's down here," and they said, "No, don't worry about it." And then by the time I had traveled to the path, they were long gone. The next night, you and I go hunting.
Yeah.
We get out of the truck, we sit in the tree stand, and they're at the top of the hill screaming for this dog. And I thought
You
they
think the dog's
they'd lost the dog, right?
It's exhausted somewhere.
So I thought
Chasing
they
the
were
deer.
looking for the dog. Again, I went to the top of the hill and I yelled at them, and they didn't answer, and I didn't see them. Right? They heard me for sure. So I told you I was done. I'm going home. There's no point in wasting the night. I get to my truck, I back out, and I see them coming down the trail
With the dog.
with the dog from the night before. And do you ever get that sense where you're trying to have a conversation with somebody and they do not want to talk to you at all, like walking away, like the but like walking, like, did you find your dog? Is that the dog
100%.
from last night? Yeah. And then that's the moment I realized that deer was probably coming in. If he'd have been a mile out and the dog had been on it, I'd heard the dog forever barking. Like the dog caught up to the deer and started barking 30 yards behind my stand. Like he just caught up to him enough. And the deer didn't look, neither the deer or the dog looked like they'd been running that long, right? Like we were on a sprint. No, we weren't like pacing here. We were like dead sprint. So then I came to the realization that they probably saw that big buck cross the road, know my truck's there because it's 20 minutes before shooting hours ends again, and let the dog off the leash, knowing that dog will run so far and come back.
If that's the case, that's just nasty.
No. Here's the thing. Do they know that you're bow hunting?
I don't think they care.
But how dangerous is that to let your dog chase a deer that might just be getting shot at? That's
Well,
like
I don't
That's-
think that's the concern.
that's
at
what I'd
all.
be thinking.
I would think that
Well, I'm not
They
sending my
must have
dog
thought-
out after a deer. You
Yeah.
keep reading stuff in the
Oh.
news
Well-
like, oh, someone
They're
shot
not
my
within
dog.
the right either way. It's
no,
just
no, no,
kinda-
yeah. And you know
Yeah.
what? The weird thing about these like people who protest, they're probably more concerned about like the deer than the dog. They probably have the assumption that nobody would shoot the dog.
Yeah.
I wouldn't shoot the dog,
I hear about those accidents
but
all the time.
I don't even think they're
Or
sometimes accidents.
Yeah, quote unquote, right?
I can think of a ton of guys
Yeah, it happens.
who this happened to during shotgun season that have shot that dog. I'm not saying that's right, but man, I know a ton of guys who have shot that dog. I
Yeah,
know a ton
man.
of guys who I told the story to and said, "What do you mean you didn't shoot that dog?" Right? You know, and it's not the dog's fault at all, but man, like
It's not a good
you
look
can't
either.
do that, right? Like we
yeah.
got to share the trails. There's got to be.
for them to meddle with you though.
Yeah, it is. But
is,
you'd have
yeah.
a hard time proving that they weren't just walking down the trail and the dog,
dog,
ran
yeah.
away. There's also laws, if you go to any of the signs on the public area that we hunt, that says you got to have your dog on a leash.
Yeah, it's
It says right there, no off leash, like, and it's not only
pretty
for hunters,
codified.
it's for that other walkers don't walk
And
into
they're
a
well
dog.
they're well aware there's hunting going on in there.
It's been on the
obviously.
radio
Yeah, yeah.
20 times a day warning people to stay out of there, that there's hunting going on and to
Yeah.
wear orange and
and they have half the forest.
yeah,
as well,
if you
right?
go
The
across
whole-
the road, there's 20,000
Yeah.
acres there of you
No
can't
hunting.
hunt.
Yeah.